just to share it with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I can see your ADHD because besides these two centers open, you have gate 9. Gate 9 is the attention of detail, and it's exactly the hyper focus that's present in
Yeah.
ADHD.
Okay.
And the open root is pretty much pressure to be free. Like you can't relax until you finish your work. You always have something to do.
Yeah, and I never feel like I'm remembering everything that I need to do, and there's always something that I'm missing, and relaxing can be difficult.
Yes, and it also might feel always like something's burning, like you have to attend something really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the pressure of the root, and it's pressure to be free. And right now, the channel 360 is in transit, this one in the middle.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's, I know I have an undefined root as well. And the moment it got into transit, I started creating all sorts of strategies of how I will work to organize my stuff. As an open root, we can't do that. We're not good at strategizing. We pretty much go with the flow. But when it got into transit, I suddenly started creating all these strategies. And for a moment, I stopped myself thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
When something like that is in transit and we do things that are out of our ordinary, is that maybe empowering, or does it feel like things are weird and I don't feel right, like something's off?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
First feeling that it will be very empowering because the root is a motor center. So you will get to moving instantly.
Yeah.
Because it puts pressure and it gets moving. But the longer you get into that energy, the more it's going to feel draining, and it's going to feel like something's off. What am I doing?
Yeah.
It's gonna start showing up as, this is not me. I've never done this. Why am I doing this?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's how it plays out for me. And as soon as I stopped and think, why am I doing strategies? It's not like I'm going to follow them. I did strategies for 9 months for social media, and I started creating all kinds of stuff. And then I looked, I'm not going to follow this through. What am I doing?
Yeah, I've been there. I've felt that before. Yeah.
Whenever something defines our roots, regardless of the channel, we will feel pushed. Obviously, different channels have different energy. This one is in particular a slow growth, so it's strategizing for long term.
Yeah.
This one in particular that's in transit right now, it's the move from caterpillar to butterfly kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that growth slow process, and that's the push that we might feel that, oh, there's a growth slow. I have to plan it ahead. I have to think about it. But having an undefined root, we still have to follow, in your case, your emotional authority. Because otherwise we end up doing exactly what I did, which is strategizing because the root feels under pressure, and next week it won't matter at all. So it will feel like a waste of time. And for people with an open root, it happens often.
Yeah.
To feel like, oh my gosh, I just did that, and now I wasted my time doing X, and I should have done Y.
Yeah, it does feel like I misuse my time a lot, like making strategies that I'm really not going to follow through with. So this is good to hear. It feels good to hear.
For you, the biggest strategy to follow, and you can trust it, is playing hard to get.
Yeah, I read that a little bit in my chart, and I'm not quite sure what that means.
It comes from your emotional authority, because the emotional authority doesn't hold any truth in the now.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
can't take decisions in the moment. So whatever people ask you, giving yourself time to decide, it's the best option for you.
Yeah.
Because usually when you play hard to get, a better opportunity shows up.
Okay. Yeah. And with my strategy to wait and respond, I feel like that plays right into that. And yeah. Okay.
Now, the other pressure center that you have open is the head center. And the head center, the generic, not self-theme, is thinking about things that don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
75% of the population have an open head, and everybody's thinking about things that don't matter.
Oh, okay. Okay. Great. So it's not so uncommon.
No, it's very common actually. And I try to joke that that's why we have a seedless watermelon. There's many problems in the world, but somebody decided seeds have to stop.
They gotta go. They gotta go. I don't like those.
And the problem with the head is that it's also a pressure center. And the pressure of the head is to make you solve other people's problems.
Mm. So with
When
an
other people
open,
have, it's undefined, you have to gate on it, it's undefined, but it's still gonna put pressure.
okay, yeah.
And it's gonna be pressure to solve other people's problems. And it's very bothering for most people with an open head, because somebody comes in with an emergency of their own, and it suddenly becomes your emergency, and your
Yeah.
real emergencies get placed second.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my whole body reacts as if it's my emergency, and I just, take the seat and I take the wheel, and yeah. Um,
Yes.
Now I live with someone with a defined head center. Um, am I getting pressure from that, or
Yes.
how does that play out?
Exactly like I described, if you are constantly living with somebody with an defined head, their problems will take priority most of the time.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I feel that.
And also, since you have two gates hanging on this head, you are bound when somebody activates your head, especially since you live with that person, you are bound to think about things that don't matter in the past
Mm.
and doubt things about the future.
Mm. Okay.
But thinking about things that don't matter in the past will be much more proeminent because it's conscious. You're going to be aware that you're thinking about things that don't matter in the past.
Okay.
Probably during fights, you bring out the whole history.
Yeah, and I'm very conscious of thinking about that. You're absolutely right. And so does this look like the future maybe is unconscious? Like I'm not aware that I'm thinking about that?
The future gate, the probability gate, yes, it's unconscious, and it won't show up as you thinking about doubting it. It will show up just you seeing many possibilities and maybe a slight fear to step forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that. I do have fear of stepping forward into the unknown, which is crazy because I'm a Gemini and I'm supposed to love change and mutability. But yeah, my biggest thing is that I can't step forward into a career or making any kind of financial money. I'm a stay-at-home mom for 11 years now. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so that really rang true for me.
Yeah, so probably you are bridged through the 21. So let me give you a bit of insight since you shared this with me
Okay.
for the 4037, because
Okay.
the 4037 is unconscious for you, and this is literally what you talked about, stepping forward in a career. The
Okay.
40 is a love gate, and is a very materialistic love gate. And this specific gate doesn't see a purpose in working unless they are working for someone else. So if you already have a situation at home that is stable and doesn't need you to work,
Right.
doesn't need you to support somebody else, there is no purpose for 40 to work. The 40 doesn't work for their own betterment. They don't work for their career.
Yeah. Yeah.
They work to support others. They work
Okay.
as an act of love, as an act of dedication. So considering this and considering that you want to step in a career, start probably maybe by volunteering somewhere just to get that energy going, to feel like you're doing it for someone, to feel like you're doing it for a purpose.
Like for the community. That comes up a lot in my readings too. There's a lot of community stuff going on. I think it's in my lines as well, or two.
Yes. The fourth is the network, but you have some tribal energy like this channel and two other hanging gates, and that will want you to be supportive and supported, to give and receive support.
100%. Yeah.
Then, since we discussed the pressure centers, I'm going to discuss the open spleen.
Okay.
And you have, that's an awareness center. The spleen is responsible for the immune system. So it becomes aware when something gets in the system.
Sure.
And it's responsible for intuition as well. Now, the downside of having it undefined is one, it's a huge source of anxiety.
Yeah.
And second, you have connected to it the gate 28. And it's both conscious and unconscious, so it's going to show up consistently. This is the fear of death.
Oh.
So even careful with your own inner thoughts, your own intrusive thoughts, negative intrusive thoughts. Even though you might not feel afraid that you might die, you might feel terrified that somebody close to you might die.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Unconscious and unconscious. So that's pretty much always present. Wow.
It's always present, and it's going to show up. I don't know, your partner goes for a work trip, you're going to be worried about it until they get back home.
It's true. It's true.
I have that too, and it's a consistent, if things are out of my control, if things are not in my hand, I need to be constantly informed. If my daughter goes, I don't know, at the beach with her aunt, I need her aunt to call me the moment they arrive at the beach. And
yeah, just let me know that you're okay. So would it, I feel like this is a good source or a great source of anxiety going on. That I didn't even realize, I didn't even think about.
Yes, the whole, all awareness centers, but luckily for you, you only have one undefined. All awareness centers are sources of anxiety, and they are three. There's the ajna, there's the solar plexus, and the spleen. All of them are sources of anxiety. You have this one, and with the fear of death in particular, that's going to show up consistently. And also this center is the center of intuition. Now, the good part of having it open is the fact that intuition shows up in all possible ways. If other people can pinpoint what their intuition is, for you, it shows up in all ways.
Okay. Yeah, I never was able to pinpoint it. Thank you for just explaining that. That makes me feel better.
That's the reason why you might find it hard to trust, because it doesn't show up consistently in the same way. Other people describe it, how it feels like, and you can't describe it. It's something that you know you have, but you can't exactly put your finger and say, okay, yes, I see this in this way. I know this because my intuition is telling me.
That is so true. So true. Does that have anything to do with the quad right, or is that wholly separate?
The quad right just means that you are most likely a lot more of a free thinker. To go into a quad right, you would have to go into colors, because the variables come from colors of the. They come from the colors, just so you know what you're looking at. They come from the colors of the first sun and earth, and the nodes, the ones that would be on this side, are unconscious sun, earth, and unconscious south and north nodes. That's the unconscious cross of life. And the ones on the other side will come from personality, sun, earth, and personality nodes. And that's the conscious cross of life. Usually the unconscious talks about the body. So the variables talk about environment and digestion.
Okay. Yeah.
And the ones on the left talk about the mind and personality more, and they are perspective and motivation. How you see things, your perspective, and your motivation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I went through all the not self themes. What I want to mention, because it's unconscious and it might scare you, it might shock you, and gate 10 is both conscious and unconscious. The channel 1020 is the channel of awakening.
Oh.
So you might experience at different points of your lives, literally spiritual awakenings. How they happen for this channel for 1020 is when the people with this channel release the control of gate 10. Gate 10 tries to control behavior. It's pretty much fake it till you make it, looking the part, behaving like they expect you to, behaving like the parents expect you to, behaving like society expects you to. The moment they release that control, they fall into self-love, because gate 10 is also the gate of self-love, and it's spontaneous spiritual awakening. It doesn't have to happen once, it can happen multiple times. So you can go back and forth in control. Nobody's forever awakened and forever living aligned. But this, if you experience this, that's why you have this channel in your chart.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. That's interesting. It's really interesting. So if I give up control of what maybe others are expecting of me, is that kind of what?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
When you give up control of your own behavior in order to please others, when you give up the showing yourself as others want you to be. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
So if you have any questions about any part of your chart.
Gosh, I guess not in particular at the moment. I do feel like a lot of those, I'm definitely going to look into the gates. I wanted to start with my, I guess, from the top and go down, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should start with the ones that matter most. maybe my throat center, look at those gates.
You,
Is there any
if
suggestion there?
If
Yeah.
you want to look at gates in particular, I highly suggest going through them as they are in the Gene Keys.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
starting with your
Yeah.
cross of incarnation, as that's going to make up 70% of your energetic profile.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been looking at gate 16 for a while now. Not entirely sure I understand it. So my Mercury is in Taurus and I absorb things slowly, but slowly but surely. And it's gonna take me some time, but I do. I feel good about it. I'm excited. And especially, will you be around to answer, the random questions that I might have? Or
Yes, I'll be around in the group. You can ask me even in private. I'll be around. And also, everybody I'm giving a reading, regardless if it's a free reading or if it's a paid reading, I'm giving people access to 1 month free in my private community where I do coffee chats. So basically, I hang out with the coffee and I invite people, whoever wants to show up and ask me questions.
Oh, that's lovely.
So you're gonna
thank you for that. Well, I wasn't gonna leave this a free reading, by the way. I was I was definitely gonna give you something. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you.
And well, you can decide to stay in the community. The community after the free month, it's €8 per month, which I think would translate in roughly $9 something.
Yeah. I was looking up that earlier this month, and great. That'll be like a preview before I decide to actually do it.
Exactly. You get a preview of 1 month to see what's happening and what people are talking about. I also have the Gene Keys. I'm struggling to upload all the audios for the contemplations. I'm uploading all the Richard Rudd audios, the originals in the community.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's basically the reason why the community is set behind the paywall, because otherwise I couldn't share these materials in public.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Okay, it was great meeting you. Really nice meeting you.
Too. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
And I will see you in the community and we'll chat at the coffee.
Definitely. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.